Ladies and gentlemen of the beautiful crypto space, it is finally happening. After so many months, Bitcoin is almost back at an all-time high as the Bitcoin price just hit $73,000. And like I've been saying for the last month and a half or so, the super cycle is here. But there's a very important thing that many people do not realize. And that is that even though Bitcoin is almost at its highest point ever, there's two things. One, the interest in crypto is at one of the lowest points in many years. And second of all, well, you might not feel the excitement of a Bitcoin all-time high because there's a very high probability that you're mostly in altcoins. And if you've not been listening to my recent videos talking about me mostly going into memes, that's fine. Then just because those are almost all at all-time high or close to all-time high levels. Then if you didn't, no worries, most of our altcoins are about to go on that run. The time is finally here. Now, again, you've probably seen about 6 or so videos throughout, let's say about half September to now, of me saying that it's coming again. And that's because nobody in the world is able to predict the exact bottom, accurately over time. All you can do is, after being in this space for a few years, recognize when the tides are about to turn. I said that about the middle of September, where I said, hey guys, let's start getting back into altcoins. Let's start really writing ourselves or setting ourselves properly for another leg up. Again, slightly too early with that, but ultimately it was fine. Right, like I said also, for the last couple of months, all I've been doing is just adding to my Bitcoin long positions. I have done one thing. Just now at 71.8 thousand, that's the mark I set many months ago, I sold some of that Bitcoin position. Now, it's kind of confusing for me because I'm actually thinking the last couple of weeks, most of my profits I've been turning into Bitcoin. So that's what I stated, right? Memes, Bitcoin, wait for the right narrative to pop off and then go hard on that in stablecoins. But now all of a sudden I have to, the position that I built up for many months, sell that Bitcoin to stable coins to then buy more Bitcoin with or something. It was kind of difficult, still is. I sold about half the position is still open. Fortunately for me, because the price right now is at 72.9 or so thousand. But ultimately, guys, you do not want to get stuck on your paper profits. I've had it many times that I'm so happy with whatever my trade is going, and then it goes all the way up. Let's say you're $400,000 in the profit, and then a few days afterwards, you're actually ending up with having to close the trade at minus 20,000, something along those lines. After doing that 1,000 times, you learn one most important thing, which is to secure your profits every now and then. And that brings me one of the most important points of the bull market that many don't realize. Right now, we're on the verge of it, right? We're on the verge of popping off because Bitcoin is setting its all-time high right around this time, and I've been explaining the thesis for the last weeks. I don't know what else to tell you. This is, for example, a video I made like 2 or 3 days ago. Besides that, yesterday I made a video explaining where my targets are for the end of the run. But what I basically stated in this video right here is that even though we saw an outlier this March, April, where Bitcoin already saw an all-time high, usually the highest point for cryptos is about a year or so after the halving occurs. So in this case, I'm going to even say a year and a half or so after the halving occurs. Since it happened in April of 2024, we expect the highest point to be what? Somewhere in November or so of 2025. As right now, in history, we're at the dark red phase, the dark red area where things are about to go parabolic. This is the video I made a few days back. And I want to get back to that by stating that right now it might seem crazy to some of y'all. It might seem very uneventful to others. It just depends on what you're in or the circles that you're in. Because like I said, most circles that I used to think were exciting and yada yada, they're all still quiet. And that's because most people do not care about cryptos yet. They'll probably only start caring once Bitcoin's at 100,000 or some of their older altcoins that were crazy hyped up, XRP, Cardano, even BNB or Solana, gets to those older price points, starts crossing all-time highs or getting close to it. So they realize to start thinking back and get back in. We're not there just quite yet. We're, funny enough, at the starting phases of a bull run, and this is the best analogy I can give you. It really depends on when y'all get into crypto though. But I'm gonna ask you something. Let me know down in the comment section, please guys, every single person that's watching this, I really do want to know, this is very important to me. After you've pressed that like button, let me know in the comment section down below what year you got into cryptocurrencies. I really am wondering. The reason I'm saying that is because if you got in, for example, in 2021 or before, one thing you might realize is that the point we're at right now is basically like being at $20,000 back in 2021. And the funny thing many people don't realize is that last time around, 69,000 was the highest point. Right now we're above that, and it doesn't even feel exciting to almost anybody, because back in 2021, $20,000 was a very big threshold, right? Or let's say 2020, 2021, because that was the 2017 all-time high. So that was a very big threshold. But once you start going above, once Bitcoin went to, let's say, for example, 25,000, all of a sudden now when it came back to 20, it felt like a really low point. People didn't like it at all because it all of a sudden dropped 20% from its all-time high. Now, that's kind of a phase we're in currently, where at that point, altcoins really didn't run that much because Bitcoin was still the most dominant one. Bitcoin is still pushing through. That's what most people are rotating into, because usually Bitcoin leads the cycle. There have been some high conviction altcoin plays I've been telling you guys about for a while that I'm actually still holding on to, but I just want everybody to realize that if you're not in crazy amounts of profit just quite yet, that's normal. That's fine. I'm looking through here, but man, I don't know how to describe it best to people, that what we're seeing right now, it really is nothing. Man, 2021 was also such a crazy time, man. If I think back, there were days that all of a sudden Bitcoin shot up by so much, you just crap your pants. And there were also a few days where things slashed so hard. I think at some point Ethereum was down 50%. Maybe even 60 or 70% in a day. I think there was even a day that Bitcoin did numbers akin to that, like 40%, if not more down. But this season here, we have really not seen any alts go on that crazy meteoric rise. Today is one of the first days, actually, that Bitcoin is somewhat just crazy again, but not even in double-digit gains. And I do believe somewhere later in the year still, we'll see a day, let's not say year, let's just say the next few months, that Bitcoin actually goes up $10,000 in a day. It's in my opinion, not too far away. By the way, my Doge trade is also popping off. I will state again that Doge is a little bit of a lucky factor. It didn't really get any hype the last few months, but theoretically speaking, it could do pretty well here as Elon Musk is right now going crazy on the whole Trump situation. And as the election is coming in hot, perhaps it's also reviving partially because of that. On the opposite side, it's just many memes that are running. And today, since Bitcoin is so bullish, many altcoins are sharing that sentiment. SUI up 25%, PopCat up 19%. Funny enough, the last video I made about PopCat, I think it was at like 75 cents. Never mind, I just noticed it was about 58 cents because this is a video about how to trade. Let's see, the exact title was Simple Method to Make $100 a Day Trading Cryptocurrencies, and it was basically just a simple explanation as to where to spot things in, for example, the PopCat chart. And I guess if you just held on from this point, could have also been a nice juicy multiplier. Or also at the time, you can see that I had a Bitcoin trade open for a long time already, but at the time it was 59,000. And like I described in that video, just having a little bit of faith, right now you could have ridden from about a month ago up to now. To be exact, it was the beginning of September. You could have ridden or rode, whatever, Bitcoin all the way from 59,000 all the way right now to 72. And there comes the point of most people do not get in when things are low. They get in when things are extremely high. If you right now are not in crypto and you're thinking, should I get in? The best thing I can tell you is yes, but this is not financial advice. Yes, but don't go in all at once. And it's not because we're not going to pump more. Nobody really knows for sure. But I had a conversation yesterday with somebody. It's a matter of you don't want to oversaturate your whole portfolio into crypto straight away. You don't want to overexpose yourself just quite yet. You want to slowly ease in. For example, if you want to put a whole $1,000 in, put $100 in today. See exactly how you feel with the price going up and down so much. See if it's even something you're comfortable with. Don't think too much about the gains you missed out on. Again, your goal is here to be here for a season, for a whole cycle, if not the rest of your life. Your investments, most likely, and not guaranteed, will go up over time. They might go down for a week, a month, 2 months, a year. If you place them at the exact wrong time, they might go down for 3 years or something. But like the S&P, like the housing market, as I always say, eventually they will go back up if you buy the right things. But more importantly, if you still have the $900, average your way down, you'll be completely fine. Or if you put the $100 in, you enjoyed a lot, you put most of it in already, but just realize that at that point, you are timing the market a little bit. I still think it's better than trying to wait for the biggest bottom, because sometimes it can be weeks before you find a juicy one, or perhaps it never happens that your price gets caught again. A lot of people were waiting for Bitcoin to fall all the way back to 30,000 maybe. Didn't really happen, as you guys have seen. I made a prediction long ago that we will not see $40,000 Bitcoin ever again. And hey, maybe if you're waiting for that as an entry, you're never gonna get it. And so it kind of goes on, where if you're waiting for the right time, sometimes you might be waiting forever. But on the opposite side, ladies and gentlemen, I still think the super cycle is here. It's finally happening. Bitcoin about, oh, my food just got delivered. Bitcoin about $700 away from its all-time high. And your alts might not be flourishing just quite yet, but I'm so ready for them to start going crazy. And I'm happy to see you guys all ride with me through this journey. Once more, guys, we can see a flush. Why? We're very close to the Bitcoin all-time high. A lot of money is riding on that. A lot of people will sell as Bitcoin gets to its highest point ever. My thoughts were, though, the moment that it breaks 70,000, we're going to see a pretty quick rise to 71 point. I expected 8. We're still riding through, which is, again, another sign of nobody knows exactly when it's going to top out. We saw some rejections at the 70K mark, but it went rather quickly. And right now, we're in a little bit of a middle point as well, where we all know it's confirmed. The season is back. That's pretty much confirmed. We do not know, though, if it will be one straight push or another little back and forth at the 73K mark, going down a few times before inevitably breaking. What we do know, though, is that most of these alts are poised for crazy gains. I'm still more a fan of some of the smaller ones, even though usually this is still where the big ones win. I've just not seen many signs of that. Solana's still looking juicy, BNB looking juicy, yada. Last time, so April, May, I'm going to say March, April season, by the way, BNB just had a really silent, crazy run all of a sudden. So did Solana. Those two seem to be way more hyped than some of our previous favorites like XRP and Cardano. I'm still holding on because I do believe if they go, it's going to be a pretty quick 100x perhaps. You know, not necessarily saying that exact number, but I'm just saying that where Solana and BNB are going to go on a crazy run, almost guaranteed in my opinion. XRP and Cardano have not shown their hype just quite yet, but because of the hype in previous cycles, the moment that it does start running, if it does, it will most likely be pretty quick. Just like how Dogecoin right now has not shown any signs of life in a good while, and all of a sudden is up like 20% in a day. And the funny thing is, from here, Doge could cascade on, keep rolling, and get a lot of these days consecutively as long as Bitcoin stays on this positive curve. Now, usually this is where Bitcoin overtakes more dominance as it gets above its all-time high, takes a lot of money away from Ethereum, and actually today seems like such a day where BNB, Solana, they're all up like 3%, where Bitcoin is still up 5%. So that basically means that generally speaking, Bitcoin is up more than some of your most favorite alts. That is usually a sign of Bitcoin showing strength. People rotating all these other things into Bitcoin. But I don't think it matters too much because we're too bullish of a phase right now. Yesterday, the Bitcoin ETF saw nearly $500 million worth of inflows. I'm ready, ladies and gentlemen.